I'm so happy you're here. Welcome to Chai Beauty, where I get to share my thoughts, my dreams, my aspirations, my visions for the future. And guess what? You get to be along for this journey because we are in this together.
The next part is, what are boundaries to and from? We are responsible to others and for ourselves. So, high level, it just talks about Galatians, and some of the things that it talks about is when you have acted as if your boundaries are your daily load and have refused help. Where are you doing this at? I think I've been giving the feedback twice was that I wasn't using my resources. So high level is like I'm in a season where I've broken both of my legs and my right shoulder. And it has required me to basically be off of work and go to therapy 3 times a week for since July, August, September, October, or November for 4 months. So I went to therapy 3 times, and then I was so weak that it took pool therapy because I was just in so much pain. So once I got out of pool therapy, it then translated to land therapy, and then from land therapy I went from 3 times a week to now I'm 2 times a week. And in that time, people were like, well, we want to help, we just don't know how. And I question even now when I'm thinking about when was the right time to ask for help, because there was like in July I was in shock because I woke up in the hospital the second week. They were trying to figure out what to do with me after the hospital in the sense of like where I'm going for rehab. And so my environment the first 3 weeks in July was the environment was changing, so I didn't have stability, I would say, to figure out. And then I had to be resilient in the sense of like, oh snap, things are happening. But it's not like I can say, oh no, I don't want to do these things. It's like, no, I need to think and ponder and figure out my next steps. And so when you're trying to figure out your next steps, you also have to figure out how can you ask for help. And so when I thought about how can I ask for help and listen to this question, when it says when you have acted as if your burdens are your daily load and have refused help, where are you doing this today? I was like, oh snap, I was in a traumatizing situation and I took it as my daily load when I actually could have taken a moment to be like, this is my new normal and this is traumatizing. I hear it and I need help, but I don't know how to ask for help. Had It wasn't difficult in the sense of like asking for help. It was more difficult in the sense that people were like, we could have did more if we had a knew. And I was like, I get it. It was overwhelming and I'm sorry at the sense, but not sorry. I'm not even sorry. The correct word is like, I can't ask for something that I don't know. And so that led me to the second question is, when you have acted as if your daily load is a burden that you shouldn't have to carry, where are you doing this in your load in this today? So when I've acted as if my daily load is a boulder that you shouldn't carry, I don't think I've ever acted like that. In the sense that my daily load is something I can't carry. I think I'm more independent, and there are just times that I need to know that I don't have to do everything myself, and I can rely on people. And I'm always contemplating, what can I ask for help and what can't I ask for help. And again, with those negative thoughts that I've talked about, it leads me to not ask, and I just use my strong will. But I do believe I'm in a season where I constantly hear in the back of my mind that strong will can only get you so far, and straight strategy will get you even further. So that's networking, understanding somebody, talking to somebody, and also learning how to ask for help. So then the second question is, what have these two questions helped you see about yourself, and what would you do with it, with what you've learned? And then the last part of it is, in order to not stay in pain or become irresponsible, it's important that you determine what me is, where your boundaries of responsibility lies, and where someone else begins. Look at more closely at the nature of these boundaries. And then it goes further to say good in, bad out. So in the chapter, it gives you a high level of like all these different things. So that property that I talked about, the fences, and it says this fence around your property, our boundaries need to gate in them so that we can let out the bad when it's inside. What pain and sin do you need to get through confession so that it does not continue to poison you on the inside? So I thought that was a great question. I need to find my phone. So I listened to Mike Todd, and there was a season where he was like, you need to confess to your neighbors and your friends something. Cuffing. You need cuffing season was that I heard from him, and he was like, you need to confess with your neighbors so you don't have these issues anymore, right? And so that the good in with the good, in out with the bad, I confessed to some neighbors about things that I just felt were challenging for me and they were bad for me. And so that was in, I actually have the text message. I was like in April the 2nd. It was on a Sunday. And so I said, if I'm very transparent, sleeping the day away, because sometimes I want to numb my emotions and thought. Financially, knowing that I'm not staying within budget, but God always gives me a way, but I don't want to displease him. Work, it distracts me from seeking God and understanding that he gives me a purpose. Isolation, when I'm hurt, I don't confront because I never truly value and wait for others to disappoint me, so I don't have to build community. Lies, I don't like getting in trouble, and I have changed, but I slip, and I want to own up faster to my mistakes. I want to change these patterns. In Jesus' name, I pray to change me. And I thought about that because in April, I confessed this to my neighbors and the people that are close to me. And I would say I don't have these issues that I have now. The sleeping one I have because, like, I'm in rehab and, like, they ain't nothing to do. Like, there are things that people have asked me to do. So, like, I have a degree in HR. I have a degree in entrepreneurship. And I just got a master's degree in project management. And people are like, so when are you going to take the SHRM test? When are you going to take the PMP? And when are you gonna, like, I already got my certification of Scrum, but people are like, when are you gonna do next? Like, this is the season to do those things. But honestly, when I first got injured, God just said, rest. And that's what I've done, because even in rest, that just means God has to take care of the rest. I am in the season of currently applying for jobs because of this injury. I don't know if I can come back to my job and they can accommodate what I'm going through, right? And so that's just me preparing for the next season. But do I know how all this is going to play out? Absolutely not. But I ultimately go back to an episode that I watched on Tim Ross where it said, somebody said, the now is not your future. And that took me as in, like, right, whatever I'm doing right now, I will not continue to be doing this forever, because the only thing that is permanent is that everything changes. And going back to the good in, the bad out, I have to confess to myself that it's going to be okay. And so, and I also have to know that, like, in these things that I've confessed in the past, as a result of past injuries, have you reversed the function of boundaries? What are you using them to keep in the bad and the good out? What pain are you holding inside rather than expressing it and getting it out of your soul? Where are you not opening up to love and support from the outside that would bring healing? And so that was a mouthful. And you're probably like, girl, you just like told all the story and then you just swooped to a question. It makes sense. So to wrap up everything that I'm saying, right? In those seasons where I confessed on April the 2nd, these things, I think if I hadn't confessed to those things in July when my injury happened, I would have lied. I would have slept more than I'm sleeping now. And I sleep a lot. I would have not been able to say I'm injured, I'm hurt. I wouldn't even be able to do this method that my friend taught me, pause, which is like, how are you physically, how are you intelligently, how are you emotionally, and how are you spiritual? I think I would have lied to her and myself. Yes, can I do better at asking for help? But at least I'm trying, I'm progressing. I'm not perfect. And again, what you don't know is what you don't know, and give yourself grace for that. And in that season of saying all these things, and I feel like I keep saying it, but there is an end, because I feel like there's not a stop to this point of view, is you have to confess and you have to build community and you have to figure out what is in your soul that is good and what is in your soul that is bad. And were you taught these things as a child? Were you taught these things through experiences? Because the confession of the lies was like, I somewhat was taught it's okay to lie. Like, small lies, it's fine. Instead of just being like, I'm not showing up, okay? Like, delete my number. Don't press send. Don't collect $200. And that is not the best answer. The best answer is to say, I hear you, but I don't have capacity for what you're saying at the moment. Potentially I'll have it later, or this ain't my problem in the nicest way possible. And unfortunately, like, I hear you, but I can't do anything for you. Or be safe in the space of saying, honestly, I'm just having a really tough day and I mentally can't carry my own daily load or my own burden at the moment. And so, because I'm having issues carrying my own load, I'm going to need you to help me by allowing me to have moments to myself to fix myself. And then eventually I'll be able to help you.